Night. I'm your guest host, Ryan Helfenbein. The madness of the Trump trials continues. And the latest development, Michael Cohen, President Trump's former lawyer, admitted to stealing 60,000 from his ex-boss, saying the theft was a form of self-help. Joining me to discuss is Ron Coleman, conservative commentator, attorney, and host of Coleman Nation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I just look at the insanity right now. When you think about our legal system, they're making an absolute mockery of our courts. We have a kangaroo courts. We have show trials. This is the real cost to our justice system over time. Even Hollywood producer director Oliver Stone says that this is a form of legal warfare. He's calling it lawfare. This is petty. It's ridiculous. But what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the fact that people such as he and Bill Mayer and other relative skeptics on the left are feeling comfortable saying this kind of thing shows you just how far it's gone. And I've said many times, the damage here isn't just to Donald Trump or any particular person or party. It is to the system. And as long as you're willing to find, as long as you're able to find, and you always will be, people like Michael Cohen, whose virtue is entirely negotiable, you will always be able to find someone to give you the testimony you need to convict anyone of anything, or in this case, of nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And when you think about all of the ways in which justice is being perverted, there seems to be there are 4 trials right now that the president has been a part of. When you think about the cost long term, the fact that if they can go after the former president in this way, so publicly, so blatantly obvious, so brazenly, in broad daylight, if they can legally mug somebody of that stature, what does that mean for anyone like you or me, any average Joe American, Joe Lunchbox, somebody who, drives a truck for a living, someone who, is a plumber, a welder? You think about all these guys, normal, average, everyday people, ordinary citizens, law abiding. But if they can go after the former president in this way, in such petty ways, what does that mean for everybody else?
It doesn't mean anything good. Just ask anyone who is in prison because they decided to go see what's going on at the United States Capitol on January 6th. And in between the regular lunch bucket guys like you and me are the people who are not quite Donald Trump, but who have a lot of say in how money is spent and invested in places like New York City. So much so that Governor Hochul of New York, a real non-entity of a hack, felt compelled to say about a month ago to real estate investors, hey, don't worry, we're only doing this to Donald Trump. We won't do this to any of you. Are you nuts?
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree. If they can do that to him, they could do that to literally anyone. The average American who's watching this right now, do you think that most Americans, and I'm not just talking about people down, in Alabama and Mississippi and Florida, but I'm thinking about places in Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, right? Down in Arizona. Do you think Americans are seeing through these schemes, these trials, these shenanigans? Do you think it will have impact long term, maybe even in November?
I think it will. There's no one who is impressed by what is supposedly being hung on Donald Trump, who wasn't already absolutely in the tank for Donald Trump, not just a month ago or 3 months ago, but 3 years ago. Anyone who's has even the remotest shred of undecidedness or objectivity could possibly fail to see it. There have definitely been people whose votes have moved from the undecided or boycotting the election because of a lack of appreciation for the choices to making protest votes for Donald Trump. Yes, a lot of normal people. Are they the people that Joe Biden's trying to impress in Minnesota and Michigan? I wouldn't in a million years be able to guess what people like that think about anything. The way their minds work is quite foreign to me.
Yeah. Well, that's an honest assessment. Listen, so Trump is planning to hold a rally in South Bronx. This will be actually on Thursday night. Now this is going on, just down the street, if you will. I don't know exactly where the geographic point of reference is, but not too far, in a similar part, right? So do you think that this is going to energize supporters in New York? Do you think folks are going to turn out? Do you think this rally will be big?
It will energize supporters in New York. Folks will turn out, but it will not have an effect on the vote in New York City, because the vote in New York City, just like the vote in every other major blue city, has nothing to do with how people vote. I'm not one of those black pill guys who says no matter what we do, nothing matters because the vote is crooked. But in these cities, the vote is crooked and nothing matters. In these precincts, the vote is crooked, but nothing matters. But the way this South Bronx rally plays, not only in upstate New York, but in Michigan and in Alabama. Well, Alabama wasn't really in play, but in swing states and other places where the votes do matter and there isn't a gigantic crooked urban machine managing the voting. That's what this is. This is a stage for Donald Trump to make some very powerful points and also to demonstrate just how disconnected and Biden and the Democrats have become from the concerns of urban voters.
Yeah. I think that is a great point that you just made. I'm reminded back in 2001 when 9/11 happened, the nation kind of, coming together, rallying together. I'll never forget former President George W. Bush throwing a pitch at Yankee Stadium. Yeah, it was for New York. Yeah, it was for the Yankees, but it was a national stage for the rest of the country. So what is happening is not just for what's happening in South Bronx, but the rest of the nation could be energized by what they're seeing. Just final thoughts as we go out into our break.
God runs the world. That's just ultimately there isn't a straight path to resolution other than the fact that good actually wins a lot more than people appreciate. When you're in the moment, it's hard to appreciate it, but it's going to happen.
That's the great thought to end on, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the Jenna Ellis Tonight Show. We'll be right back.